Hey, how's it going? It is time for that time. Live streaming. How's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a great week. Give me a shout out. Let me know if you can see me or not. I'm still getting a couple of these autofocus things sorted out here on my camera here, so bear with me, everybody. But we should be a lot more, should be a lot happier this time around. So if you guys watched my live stream a couple of weeks ago, you noticed we ran into a few minor issues here and there. But it seems that everything is going okay today, so I think we are all right. So if you're there, give us a shout. How you doing? And yes, we are watching all of the chats here. I've got all of it right up there, that way. Okay. This time I've got it going this way. Last time I had it going that way, so I just gotta know which way I'm going there. But we are here. We're checking out the brand new Trident, which we're going to talk about today. I see a lot of people on YouTube right now. Is there anybody on Facebook? I just want to see if we're getting any of those comments. So hello, everybody out there. We may or may not be getting those comments. I keep trying to fix that problem, and for some reason, it just doesn't want to cooperate with me. But nevertheless, this is going to be kind of a makeup session for a couple of weeks ago when I attempted to do this before. I hopefully noticed a few things have changed back here. I've made it a little more edgy and a little more earthy because we wanted to have a little fun today. So today we've got a whole agenda of stuff to talk about with the Trident. I think we're going to have a ton of fun with it. If you haven't seen it up until now, don't worry, you came to the right place. We are here. I see some people from Facebook are, okay, Morgan, I'm Brazilian and trying to understand you. Okay, I will try to speak a little slower. I'm sorry if I'm speaking too quickly. It's a nervous habit I have when I'm live on camera because I just can't stop myself from hamming it up. As you guys probably know who have been watching me for a while, I see a lot of people are here today. Hey, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. I am so thrilled to be able to do this today to show you guys the Trident, take you through it today. And as I mentioned before, we are watching the chats. I've got your chats going on right here. I remembered the right side this time, and I can actually, call out the chats as we see them. Hans, how you doing? So if you've got questions from India, all right, rock on, man. If you have questions, just keep bringing them up, keep putting them over here, and eventually what'll happen is I'll go through the list and I'll start answering the questions as we go through the product, and I take you through everything that it does. So who has seen the Trident? Have you seen it yet? Have you not seen it yet? What's been your impression so far? I think today we're going to probably be able to dispel a few of the misconceptions about what the product is and what it isn't, to make sure that everybody knows that this is really a brand new product from start to finish. And it really is just a ton of fun to play with. And to kick it off, hello, I got somebody from the UK. How you doing? And to even kick it off, I brought my Steinberger out so we can have a little bit of fun. This is a Spirit Steinberger. I bought this last year, and I felt, what the heck? Let's have some fun with it today. So let me put that back down there. And I'm using my Panasonic Lumix camera here. I'm playing around with the drop in volume. I see a lot of it coming through on the mixer, so I'm not sure what's going on. That's got to be something coming in from YouTube or from Facebook. But in any case, we are here. We're going to have some fun. Okay, turn up your vocal mic. The gain bumped. It's coming back up. Okay, yeah, Chris, I told you I haven't even touched the volume here at all. So if anything, it's YouTube, unfortunately, playing the YouTube games with us, and it's a shame, but it happens from time to time. But you can see all of the great stuff that's going on over here. We got a lot of conversations going on, and there's going to be so much to talk about. Okay, I don't think the mic is working. Those taps didn't register. Okay, let's see. Hang on, everybody, hang on. Let's take a look. Hello. There it is. There. I heard him. Okay. No sweat. We are there. We are there. I promise. But in any case, today we're going to talk about the Trident, as I've been saying over and over again. Why don't we just get to it, everybody? Because you don't need to hear me yammer on about this stuff. But just keep on going. That's what I'm going to do. Thank you so much, Mike. This is a brand new hardline, by the way, in my studio. I went to great lengths to make sure that we had a hard connection, start to finish. This internet runs so hot you can melt butter off of it. It's going to definitely get the job done for today. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Okay, so I want to help you get to know the Trident a little better in this session today. So we are going to check out, we're going to talk about what the Trident is, we're going to talk about the feature set, and then of course I'm going to show you a demo of the product and we'll start playing around with it as well. Okay, so what is it? Well, the Trident is a world-class amp modeler, and what I mean by that is it has a brand new TS-AC 4K audio algorithm. So this is a brand new product from start to finish, right from the ground up. This is the latest and greatest in our audio engine. So it is absolutely outstanding, and you'll hear it for yourself in a few minutes here. But let's talk about the features there. We've got 27 amps and impulse responses. You can, of course, mix and match those impulse responses. You can also add your own impulse responses. It's up to you, no problem. There are 4 microphones to help you refine the tone. There are 35 effects. That's including the noise gate and the EQ, but also all of the reverbs, delays, modulations, overdrives, pitch, all that great stuff. So they are there. We have an intuitive layout. What do we mean by that? Well, an intuitive layout means that whether you're working in the software realm or whether you're working in the hardware realm, it really doesn't matter. You get a very easy layout to work with on the hardware when you're using it. And same thing goes for the software. The software is so easily laid out. If you used any of our products like the MG300 or the MG30 or the 400, this is going to be a walk in the park because it's set up exactly the same way. But as far as using it in an analog world, like you're at the gig and you need to make some adjustments, not a problem. Really easy to do. It's way easy to lay out, and I'll tell you everything about it. Okay, so there's also pro level IOs. And what I mean by that is that you have what you'll find with our past products in the fashion of, say, in the form of 1/4-inch outputs, but we also have XLR outputs on the back of this as well. And we also have a send and return on this too, so you can employ the 4-cable method. But this also means that you can go out to the front of house if you're playing live, and you can simultaneously go to a couple of FR speakers on stage. So we really built this to be your workhorse for the studio and the stage. That's what this is all about. And of course, we also have actual MIDI IOs in here, meaning that there are actual MIDI jacks. There's 1/8-inch jacks on the back, and we include the adapters to go there. So we are ready to go. And this is also a pro audio engine, meaning that you've got the best in pro audio of 32-bit, 48 kilohertz. You have a performance of 1 milliseconds of latency. It just honestly doesn't get much better than that. But there's so much more as well because it is a USB-C audio interface, so you can use it in your favorite DAW. So whether you're using GarageBand or Ableton Live or Logic or Cubase or Sonar, or in my case, Reaper, no problem, works just fine. And you can use this not only just for recording, but you can also use it for reamping, which is just outstanding and a lot of fun to do. We also have, as I mentioned before, full MIDI support. So the cables are provided, and we have a huge list of addresses that you can access via MIDI. So if you get like a MIDI foot switch controller, or just a MIDI controller in general, you can do some amazing stuff with it. There's also a phrase looper built in. It's a 30-second phrase looper, and it can be set up in either pre or post mode. So that means that you can put the looper at the beginning of the signal chain, or you can put it at the end of the signal chain. It doesn't matter. And that can produce 2 completely different tones and 2 completely different things entirely. And then you have a tuner as well. So the tuner, and I mean, you know, it's a tuner, you know, let's not get all excited. It's a tuner, but the tuner is there nevertheless. But let me show you the layout of this. And I'm going to take you through the basics of how to do it, and then we'll go to the top-down which I've actually got it on the floor today so that you can see my kick-ass Van Halen shoes here. I may not be able to play like the guy, but I can wear pretty cool shoes. Anyway, let's talk about the layout. So basic navigation goes like this. So you have banks, which are accessed by making use of the 2 foot switches on the far left side of the Trident. So you can bank up or bank down. Within each one of those banks, there are 3 presets, which can be accessed by using the bottom row of foot switches. So you can see the ones that I've marked in red, A, B, and C. Those are your presets. And then the arrow keys on the far left side, those are your bank up and bank down. And there are 96 presets in total with the product that we provide. And they are some pretty incredible sounding presets because we got some pretty notable players to come and make presets. And we even have more coming from what I understand. So this will not be the final destination. When you see the page, which will launch on Monday, the Trident page will launch on Monday, you'll see everybody who's talking about it. And you know, some childhood heroes of mine are on that list. So I'm really jazzed about that. Now, when we're talking about editing the presets, the first place is if you want to make any adjustments to the amp. Well, we laid that out below the screen, the mono screen there. So we put all the same controls that you would find on a traditional amp. So you have your gain, your level, your EQ, your presence. You can also turn off and on the signal blocks of the noise reduction, the amp itself, the cabinet, or IR as it'll also be called, and the EQ block. So those can be accessed by making use of those buttons down below. And they can also be used for a host of other things when you want to do deep editing with the Trident by itself. Now above that is the screen. And with the screen, it's a mono screen, which again, remember, this is for the stage. So do we care if something's color on stage? Probably not because, well, you're on stage. And we really designed this to be used as a get up and go sort of product. We didn't really design this with the intention of like touch screens and all that stuff because this is a workhorse. That's exactly what the Trident is made to be, is a workhorse for your studio or your stage. And so sometimes you don't want to mess around with touch screens. You don't want to do any of that other jazz. You just want to set it up, turn it on, and go. And that's exactly what we set this up to do. And to the left and the right is the mono screen is backlit. Yes, I saw that question, Chris. On the left and the right, you've got your home button and select button. These are both rotary encoders, and you've got your parameter edits as well. Now, I will not be doing actually any of the I won't be doing any of the edits on the unit itself today because I've got it on the floor, but I'll talk about it as we go along here. I'm going to do all the edits actually from the I'm going to do it from the editor. So the effect types. There are corresponding foot switches down below. I'll talk about that in a second. But the far left, upper left corner of the Trident going on to the middle, that's where your effects are. So that's where you can call up your reverb, your delay, your modulation, your effect. All of that can be called up there. There are switches there as well to really niche in and work and hone that tone the way you want to. Of course, all of that is reproducible through the software as well. And then below are the corresponding foot switches that turn on the reverb, the delay, the modulation, the effects, and of course the boost. And many of these foot switches have secondary functions. For example, the delay has a smart tap tempo, so you can just press it in succession and it will set the delay tempo. Andrew, I think I see a question there. What's the price? It's going to be $449 US. That's what it will be. The reverb has a shimmer effect, so you press and hold for a shimmer effect. And there will be other things implemented as well, like the, well, actually they're already implemented, but all those foot switches correspond to the looper, and they also correspond to the tuner as well. So we made it pretty clear too, like the modulation button is also, foot switch is also used to be the play and stop for the looper. The effects foot switch is for the record and the overdub, so on and so forth. And then when we look at the back, with the back we have the expression pedal input, so you can put in a expression pedal for volume or for other parameters. In fact, I have one on here. I'm using an expression pedal just to control volume for a little bit of fun. We have the input and the send and return. So if you want to employ the 4-cable method, you can do that right from the Trident. So that means you can utilize any of your favorite pedals into the Trident. You're not just limited to what we give you. I mean, we give you a lot, don't get me wrong, but you're not limited to just those effects. You can bring in anything else you want. And we just absolutely encourage that by giving you that 4-cable method opportunity. You have your auxiliary input, so you can do a hard connection from, say, an MP3 player. We have the master volume knob, and that's the one that everybody always forgets when they turn it on. They go, why isn't it loud enough? Well, make sure you've got that master volume turned up. You've got the ground lift switch for noise problems. To the right of that, you have your XLR outputs, you have your 1/4-inch outputs, and of course you have a headphone output. And what I really like here is that we put a 1/4-inch headphone output. So much nicer. I'm not a big fan of the 1/8 inch. It's not a big deal, but at the same time, I just like when I'm playing, you know, with something like this, I really like I really like to work with a 1/4-inch jack. Maybe that's just, you know, my thing there. Anyway, okay, so further right, we have the MIDI in and MIDI out. Again, as I mentioned, we supply the adapter cables. They're in the box. We have a USB-C port. Obviously, we give you a USB-C cable. And the power. Woo, the power. But that's all there is to it. And that is what it looks like, kids. So everything is down below here, and you can see my kick-ass shoes. So navigating through it is very simple to do. And it's very, very straightforward stuff. Let me bring up, there I am. Hello, I'm still here. But you can go through all of the presets quite easily, just doing it by using the bank up, bank down. You can see that it's changing, that it's blinking there on the screen, meaning I'm going to a new bank, and then I select the preset that goes with that bank. So I'm in bank 2, patch A, or this would be patch 4 if you want. But then you've got A, B, and C to play with. And you can also go up and down. And it's very simple to do. If you want to turn on and off and on any of the effects, just turn it off, turn it on. Modulation, turn it off, turn it on. Effects, turn it off, turn it on. Boost, well, you get the point, right? So that's how it works. So pretty straightforward stuff. I see there's some questions coming in here, so let me see what I got. Okay. Okay, here's a question. Can I place the volume pedal after the amps before the effects? Not yet, but you can assign the volume pedal, you can assign the expression pedal to several different parameters inside of the Trident, and it is something that we are talking about. Remember, it's the first version, right? And if you've bought any of our products before and worked in our ecosystem before, you know darn well that we don't just put it out there and like forget about it. We put upgrades out. We just did an update this week for the earlier this week for the MG300. I mean, that product's like 3 years old, and we still are making updates for it. That's how cool it is, right? To work with us. We don't do that stuff. Okay, here is a very quick. This is a very important question. Okay. So Ant, I am singling you out, buddy. I am singling you out. Okay, big question here. What is the difference compared to the Cerberus? And so I want to make it very. I'm gonna go to here so you can see me in a bigger screen here. It's my live stream after all. You're gonna have to just watch me in a larger screen. What is the difference? Well, I want to make this abundantly clear. The Cerberus and the Trident are absolutely different products. The only thing that the Trident has in common with the Cerberus is the shell, the knobs, and the switches. Basically, that is it. Okay, so aside from that, it is completely rewritten from the ground up. It has a brand new audio engine inside of it. It has brand new DSP. It is a completely different product. The only thing that is similar are just the aesthetics. That's it. So hope that answers the question. But there is absolutely a huge difference between all of those. It's not a Cerberus version 2. And the Cerberus is still alive. We're still We're still making that one. It's still kind of one of those old dogs that just doesn't seem to want to die or anything. Not that I'm hoping it will, but you know, we still sell them, we still make them, and I sold a whole bunch of them back in the day. For a product that's like 5 years old at this point, it's pretty substantial. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about the editor really quick. Okay, so we are using the editor. I'm over here. Let's move over here a little bit so you can see me. And then I promise we'll turn it on and we'll check it out. Okay, so what we're doing is we're looking at the editor. I've got the editor on my large screen right here. Now the editor is, if you're familiar with the MG30, if you're familiar with the MG300, the 400, any of those, this should seem very, very home. You should be very much at home. So it's just like the QuickTone editor. So you can go through here and you can select the presets you want. You can change the size of it. You want to use a drop down instead, you can do that too. You can set your BPM for your time-based effects, no problem. Your patch level is right here. You can export, you can import patches. Presets, patches, that's kind of an interchangeable term, by the way. I saw a question about that earlier. You can save and save as. You've got your settings where you can set this up as a USB audio interface if you want to. You can use it as a normal. You can use it in reamp mode. You can use it in dry out mode. And I will be doing some videos to follow all this up to talk about all of that. And of course, you've got your MIDI list. And look at all these MIDI parameters. Look at all these things, man. Woo-wee! There is a lot of MIDI addresses. And you know, MIDI goes from 0 to 128, and we only went to, or 127, and we went to 102. So I guess that means we're going to be putting some more stuff in there before too long. But in any case, there you have it. And then you've got the signal chain. Okay, and the signal chain is just like your pedal board, your virtual pedal board. It's all right there for you. So you've got your noise gate, you've got your effects block. Your effects block has compressors, it has filters, it has a wah-wah, it's got a pitch bender, it's got harmony, your modulation, you've got your choruses, your flangers, your univibes, your phasers. Set phasers to stun, baby. You got your boost, which is it's your boosters, it's your overdrives, it's your distortions. And then we got the amps. And oh man, do we have amps. Look at all these amps. They are all here, baby. And right below that, we've got the cab. Now, the reason you're not seeing a microphone in this situation is because we're using one of the chop tones impulse responses that comes in the package. And that is there. So if you use like one of the standard impulse responses that we include, like let's say I change this to a jazz clean, okay, you can now see that the microphone has appeared and I can move the microphone. Let's see, it's giving me my mouse is giving me a little bit of trouble here, but nevertheless, okay, well I won't mess around with that, but you can change that to any kind of any of the 4 microphones that are available to you here. So plenty of room to work with. And we will build a preset in this session too, so don't worry about that. You've got an equalizer that can be either a 7-band EQ or a parametric EQ, or that's actually paragraphic, pardon me. You have your send and return so that you can use the 4-cable method, and you can use it in either serial mode, parallel mode, or branch. So you can really tweak this out nicely. You've got 3 different types of delay: analog, tape echo, digital delay. And then to the right of that, you've got 4 reverbs to work with. And also, you can change how the audio is routed, how it's routed between those 2 effects. So you can put the delay before the reverb, which is typically the way I like to do it. You can also put the reverb before the delay. You can switch them, which is fun. And if you want to get more clarity to your signal, you can then go into parallel mode if you want to. So you have that option too. Yeah, okay, so anyway, let me go back to that top there. Now, one thing I did want to note, let me just put this up real quick. Now, when you start editing, one thing you do need to do is you need to go back up to the top screen when you're working. And you do that by hitting that home button. So I'm going to continue to work there. And you can see that I'm using wireless there too. You can see the wireless unit is blinking there. So at this point, why don't I go ahead and throw on the guitar here. And as I said, I'm going. It's a new guitar, but it's old school form factor. Anybody play these? Anybody play Steinbergers? Give me a shout out. Let me know if you guys play this or not. These are always fun to work to mess around with. I feel like a freaking rock star every time I pick this thing up because it just plays like butter. It's utterly amazing. So let me switch back to the next camera over here. Boom! There we are. Okay. We're not hearing anything. Oh no, panic! We're not hearing anything. Oh, that might be because we haven't linked everything up. So there we go. Okay, so let's use that expression pedal, that old expression. Okay. Can you hear it all right? Let me know if you can hear it, guys. Let me know. Oh, okay, so you get the red. You got the red Steinberger. You saucy lad, you. That's great. Good stuff. Can you guys hear it okay? All right, you can hear it. Yes, okay. Jip. Okay, Ash can hear it. Everybody can hear it. I get two confirmations. That means you guys can hear it. All right. Let me just show you a couple of the presets here that are here. So you can see that we have put lots of presets here. If we just toggle down here really quick, you can see all the ones we have. I mean, look at all these things. You're gonna have a hard time running out of ways to use this, ways to use the Trident. Let's go to a couple of my favorites here. Like I really like what Pete Thorne did for us, and I'm gonna go to the amp there. I really like what Pete Thorne did here with the Soldano. Why don't I kill the microphone too? I love that sound. Pete is the man. If you guys haven't met him before, he is just an absolute awesome dude. All right, let's see. Let's keep going through here. Here's another one I really love. Now, if you guys heard the video that was out today, this should sound pretty familiar too. One more time with that microphone. That's the other thing too. It's got that locking tremolo. So you could even do, well, this isn't probably the right guitar to do this with, but if you wanted to do, police sort of sound. That's definitely not the right, preset to use for that. Let's take a look at a couple other ones. Oh, this is another fun one. Royal Jelly. Another one that you can get into some trouble with that one pretty quick. Let's see, what are some other ones here that I think are really nice? Well, let's go back to Pete there. Pete just keeps coming up with these really great ones. And what I'll do is I'll actually use I'll tap out here and let's go to the top menu here. And I'll just go ahead and use there we go. I'll go ahead and just use the foot switches here so I can toggle through. And here's another one that's kind of a dark horse here, which is the Lone Star. And this wasn't credited to anybody specifically, but this is a Mesa Lone Star amp, and it is pretty amazing. Okay, so here's a good example of how to use this like a stomp box. Okay, so you want to turn on the reverb. Turn on the reverb. So you can hear it. I mean, this is just like that much fun. It really is so much easier, so easy to go through. Mike Hermans also did some really great presets for us too. Let me give you a quick example there. Let me make sure. Yep, that's the one I wanted. Let's see. What should we try? What riff should we try? What riff should we try? I don't know. We'll just make something up. All right. Yeah, I would really like that. I just had one of those moments where my heart skipped a beat because I thought I saw an error coming up on OBS and I was like, oh God, not again. But no, that wasn't it. It was just telling me it was Microsoft telling me to look back fondly on my memories from God knows when. And I'm like, hey dudes, I really don't need the reminders. I got to turn that off, but I'm still tweaking this laptop out. Okay, so let's explore a couple more here. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and make some presets. Let's see. That's a rectifier. Oh yeah, baby. Warm toilet seat. Okay, that has got to take the taco for one of the best screen names I've seen. That's a good one. All right, so here's a good example. Let's make some adjustments here. Okay, so first and foremost, let's actually change the microphone here. Whoop, there we go. Actually, you know what? I want to change that. I'm sorry. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to show you what we did here that's so awesome. Because I totally forgot to even talk about this. We modeled everything. When it comes to the relationship between the amp head and the amp cabinet, we really modeled everything, right down to those jumper cables in the front of the amp. So right here, you can go between input high, input low. For some reason, that is not showing up on the screen there, which is kind of weird. But you can change between input high and input low, and you can actually change the input gain on the amplifier quite easily. So if we go here and change it to input low, there you go, and you get a totally different. You get that low gain input versus the high gain input. So you really do have all that versatility. And we really, that's the thing about the way we do our amp modeling is, and sure, we're all gonna say the same thing that make products, right? We're all gonna say it's the best thing you've ever heard. But it's absolutely amazing when you start working with the amps inside of the Trident, or inside of any of our amps for that matter, the Mighty Space, the Mighty Plug Pro, the MG30. And when you start turning the volume, when you start working with the volume and with the individual parameters of the amps, it responds like an amp. I mean, it really does come pretty darn close. Honestly, I think we should try to do a video where we do a blind taste test, where we say, okay, one of these is a model. One of these is a real amp. Can you tell the difference? You know, try to do like what JH Pedals did with the JHS did with the Bad Monkey, between that and a Klon, and they just freaked everybody out. Same idea, you know? Do something like that, and it's like people will go, oh my God, amp modeling is real now. I'm like, yeah, where you been? Anyway, there it is. All right, so that's some of the, you know, just waxing philosophy here, but this is just a really good indication of everything that we've got here as far as the sounds go. So if you want to create some really cool stuff, like the swirly is really nice. And for some reason, I keep selecting the, that's weird that came up, but the inputs didn't come up. That's bizarre. Oh, now they're coming up. All right, yeah, maybe we're just having a little bit of communication problem between the editor and OBS. That does happen from time to time. Let's see, let's go into these other ones. Like the one that, the diesel amp here that came up with that Van Halen sound that Pete Doran came up with. Probably be better if I actually played the riff right? Anyway, okay, so let's go ahead and build a preset. Shall we build a preset? Let's do that, okay? Now, one thing I didn't do is I didn't create a blank slate, which is what I normally like to do. If you guys have ever watched, and let me turn that down so you don't, let me actually, there we go. I think we got to actually turn on the noise gate while I am bypassing everything here so we can start from scratch. Now, if you guys have ever worked with me on building a preset before, I always, you know, whenever I do these live streams, I always like to do, you know, a building from left to right to show you how easy it is to actually build a preset inside of one of our products, whether I'm talking about the MG30, the MG300, the Mighty Space, whatever. We're doing it all from here. Okay, so try the Joko patch. Yeah, I will. I'll tell you what, I will try. I got a call out here for trying the Joko patch. Yes, I will go and I'll play around with those in a little while, okay? So we will definitely do that one. Anyway, and there's a very good question here. Can it change the order of the pedals via the amp? The app. Yes, you can do that. I didn't even mention that yet. You just let the genie out of the bottle, didn't you? Okay, yes, you can do that. And I will show you how to do that in just a second. All right, let's go ahead and build a preset, okay? So the idea here is, if you've never built a preset with me before, I always start easy. And because I believe in the principle of KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And I'm, you know, in this scenario, I'm the stupid one, not you guys, okay? Or we could say keep it simple, smarty. That could also work too, I don't know. You tell me. Chris, I know you're probably just like groaning and probably face palming this whole time as you're watching this. So if you're with us still, haha. Chris Butler was an awesome guy helping me out the last couple of weeks on the live stream nonsense that I have been dealing with. And he's just been a real prince. So thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it. Anyway, let's go. All right, let's go back to our presets. So the first thing I like to do is I do like to use a little bit of noise gate. Keyword, I guess that Power Shake does have a little too chalky. Okay, back to our scheduled program here. And when I work with noise gate, I do it very, very gently. I don't go crazy with noise gates unless I'm gonna do like a high gain preset. But I don't build a whole lot of high gain presets myself because I'm not a high gain player. I haven't done that since I was about 16, so that's just kind of the way it is for me. Okay, moving to the right, here is where we have our compressors and all that jazz. I'm actually going to leave it alone for right now. And the reason being is because I have this love-hate relationship with compression. I love compressors when they're used correctly. When they're not used correctly, it drives me friggin' bonkers. Because people over squash the sound and then they wonder why things sound like when they listen to the mix later. And the reason being is because you're using too much compression. Key right. Don't use that compression. Use something else. They make other effects besides those things. Anyway, let's just go skip over to the amp here real quick. And I am going to go with... let's see, shall we go? Let's go with a Vox. I haven't done one with a Vox before. That's always fun. Okay, let's bring the amp back up. Let's bring the guitar back up. And you're probably wondering, why, oh why does it sound so weird? Well, it's because we have not activated the, let's see. That's what I wanted. Okay, there we go. Go back. We haven't activated the impulse response. Now it sounds real, okay? So Blue 212, that's the one we were using. When you don't have the impulse response, you got the direct sound right from the amp, and that does not sound good. Ooh, not good at all. Okay, Blue 212, let's go back to that one right there. So if we want to change anything, like let's say we want to change the input, which for some reason you can't see that still here, it's bizarre. You can see everything else, but you can't see that. That is just weird. But there's two menu options here, input high, input low. If we go to input low, we get that low gain sound. I'm gonna go high and watch it fly. Yes, I meant to do that, I meant to rhyme. And give it a little more gain. And you know what, before I start working with the EQ, little philosophy here. I like to work with the microphone on the cabinet as a form of equalization. And the reason being is because these microphones are always going to sound different. Okay, so you got an SM57, we go to a U87, and all of a sudden it sounds nice and round. It's got a nice round sound, right? Again, I promise I am not trying to rhyme. Oh, that C414 sounds nice. Let's put that in the center. I like the way that one sounds. Ooh, that is nice. I'm gonna have to remember this combination for next time. Okay, now I've got that. Now I can go in and maybe make some changes here to say the treble. Hello, there you go. I don't want tone cut, I want more tone. There we go, a little flat. Okay, now we're back in business. Now, going from here, let's go further to the right and let's add in some reverb because you know what? We need reverb. And let's see, which one shall we go with? I always like the plate reverb. I always like a good plate reverb. But I don't like it that loud. All right. See what I mean, guys? I didn't work that hard to get that sound. I didn't work that hard at all. I made plenty of bad jokes, and I still got a pretty kick-ass sound. So that's the idea. You don't have to work that hard. That's the best thing about this. It really is. Do I sound too passionate? Okay, maybe I do, but you know what? It's because it's my show, so why not? Okay, now, yeah, so we don't need that many echoes. Actually, I'm going digital delay. And I'm going to change the time to something a little funnier. Now, if I wanted to change the tempo, if I wanted to tap tempo that in, I could do it right from here. Maybe a little slower. And we can turn that feedback up a little bit. Okay, actually, turn the level down, turn the feedback down. Okay, so Chris is asking, has it got ping-ponging? It doesn't have it. I'm going to say it doesn't have it yet, because we certainly have talked about it quite a bit. And again, remember, first version. We haven't gotten there yet, but give it time, kids. Give it time. So let's take a look at that routing. Okay, so we've got three different choices here. We've got the delay going into the reverb. We have the reverb going into the delay. Can you guys hear the difference? Maybe if I turn the feedback up a little bit and the level up. See how it's a little dry on the end? Because what's happening is the reverb is being fed into the delay. So the reverb reflection is one reflection, and then the delay echoes that come after it are more or less dry. Now if we go the other way, where the delay is going into the reverb, each one of the reflections of the delay is now going through the reverb as well. There you go. So we got some really nice sounds there. And we got parallel. And parallel splits the signals up between the delay and the reverb. So you get like tons of clarification. Now personally, I like the delay going into the reverb. That's just my personal preference. And I'm also going to pull that feedback back, and just so it has a little bit of oomph to it. Now let's go ahead and, I want to address this too. Sorry, forgot to mention this, because somebody asked, can you move the signals blocks around? I don't know, can we? Ooh, we put it all the way at the beginning, and that just sounds nasty. I'm not crazy about the way that sounds at all. But yes, you can take any signal block along the signal path and place it anywhere you want to. So you can absolutely customize this any way you'd like to do that. Let's keep building. Okay, let's go to, do we go here? Nah, not yet. Let's go to modulation. Let's go there. And we're gonna play with this one a little bit, because some people like to have it before the amp. Some people like to have it after the amp. I personally, I like to have it after the amp, but of course it all comes down to, and I actually need to pull that gain back just a tad. There we go. It's just a matter of taste. And let me go ahead and go to, say, the rotary. So you can get into some trouble there pretty well. Let's try another one. The phase 90 is really nice. All right. But if you want, you can put it before the amp and get a different tone. That actually sounds better, doesn't it? Okay. All right. I hear you. I hear you. You keep saying boost. I'm going to give you a boost. I'm going to give you a boost. Let's go to that RC boost. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the power amp back just a tad there. Don't want to blow your ears off. Okay. That is the RC boost. You can bring the gain if we want to. A little bass for your face. And of course, it's all, let me go back here to the picture-in-picture really quick so you can see. So it's all mapped out down here. So if I want to turn off the boost, no problem. So if I want to do, you know, something, if I just want to mess around with, like, say, modulation. Okay, I didn't mean to go for that one. That chord. So, yep, you can get in there. Turn that off. We can go back to just our plain Jane sound if we want. Turn that delay back on. Okay, so there you go. Now let's take a look at the effects. Oh, the effects. Oh, and also let's actually let's turn the delay and the reverb back. Okay, so let's turn on the effects section. Okay, Chris has got a good question here, which is kind of an obvious one. How do you save it? And I didn't mention it. I'm not saying it's obvious because obviously we should have talked about that, but obviously I should have talked about that. Anyway, save it as, and there you go. Well, I should have probably saved it as. That would have made a lot more sense. Where you then select where you want it to go, and we can say TPG first preset, and then hit OK. All right. So that's pretty simple and straightforward, right? And then we jump back to it. There it is. Great. Now let's go and let's start messing around with the effects section here. Okay, so we've got a couple of different compression pedals here. Okay, and then we have a studio comp as well. But check out the Dr. Q. This is pretty cool. This is the Electro-Harmonics filter. So if you start working with like a volume pedal, then turn the boost back on. See, you can have a lot of fun with it. And let's just keep going. I want to just go through this really quick so you can see everything. Okay, so we have the wah. And of course, we can't do much of it here because I haven't reassigned it to the expression pedal, but you can certainly do that. But you have 3 different types of wah-wah pedals. The Clyde, which is the bad horsey, Crybaby, and the Vox. So it's up to you. We also have a pitch bender. And I don't have it I don't have it plugged in with the expression pedal, so I can't do any wanking with that. But we can also go to the harmonist. And with this, you can come up with a really interesting tone. Now this is where you probably would want to make a couple of adjustments to placement. I would probably place this after the boost. And if you want to turn on the modulation, maybe turn the boost off. Maybe go to the neck pickup. And if you really wanted to get kind of avant-garde, you could always put it over here next to the delay and the reverb, and you're going to get what you get. Or maybe put it, say, after the reverb. And that's going to sound just god-awful, so let's not do that. All right, put it over here. Sorry, I'm a Rush fan, so if you're new to this channel and you watch one of my live streams, if I don't play a Rush riff, well, then it really isn't a live stream that I've done. So, all right. Enough of that. Now let's go back and let's have a little more fun here for a second. I know people wanted to hear a couple of the other presets. I will give you some I'll give you some examples of that in a second. But here's the other thing. I'm going to actually turn off the harmonizer. I'm going to turn off the modulation as well. The reason I'm going to do that is because here's the other thing. Now, I don't know how much experimenting you guys have done with impulse responses and working with impulse responses, but we go over here, we can change this cabinet to anything we want. Just because we're using a Vox amp doesn't mean we have to use a Vox cabinet. We can use whatever we want. I could go here and use the, let's see, I could use a Soldano, you know, for some twisted reason. And that way, whoa, baby, you get a different sound out of that one. So we got that, or we could, and then from there we could then say, you know, change it to SM57. And then we got a nice, that's actually not a bad sound. That's not bad. So if we turn the modulation back on. have to remember that combination. Oh wait, I don't have to. I can just save it. Ha ha! All right, done. It's Friday. It's Friday. I make a lot of bad jokes. I ham it up on Fridays. Anybody who knows me well enough at this point. Hopefully you do. But that's just a couple things you can do. We could really let our hair down, and we could go for a custom one where we could bring in different impulse responses if we wanted to. Like you see, there's a few here that have already been given to us by chop tones. We could go to the high watt. We could go to a mesa. But I actually like the Soldano. Damn, that is like loud. That is like mega loud. Like honestly, don't even need the gain. Actually, I wonder what it would sound like with the input low. You know, that's actually not half bad with the low, because you could use this as a means to really boost that signal. Actually, I'm going to go back to it again the way it was. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. But, you know, make sure, of course, you turn off the effects you don't want to recall when you're doing this, like turn off the modulation, turn off the boost. You want to give them all the sounds right off the bat. You want to add up to, you want to play them during the track. So here's I'm playing the verse, and I'm going to want a solo. That's how you use a boost, everybody. Not everybody thinks of it like that. Everybody just wants to go to 10 right off the bat. And now you have to build up to it. You gotta give the audience something more. You know, you can't just give them all the sizzle and the steak at the same exact time, right? Okay, this is a really good question though right here. Okay, if you use an impulse response, I assume you only have one mic position. That is correct. That is absolutely correct, Chris. Yes, that's very, very true. You only have one position. So it's whatever the impulse response was recorded with. But if we go if we go back in here and we look at let's say we go into custom here, or I'm sorry, let's go to user. Hello. Nope. I actually meant to go to custom. And yeah, you can see like this is a 1960. So I'm going to say that's probably a Marshall. I'm guessing it's a Marshall. But it's a Marshall with a U87 microphone on the edge of the speaker cone, the middle of the speaker cone, although they didn't spell it right, and the edge. We won't tell anybody over there at Chop Tones. Spell check, it's a wonderful thing. But let's go back to where we were with Soldano. I like the Soldano. I'm not going to change that. Okay, there we are. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's come back over here, and there we go. Okay, somebody wanted to hear a couple of the Joko's, some of his presets, and he came up with some really nice ones here. Now, you're gonna have to forgive me because, you know, I'm not a shredder. If you haven't figured that out by now, then, well, crap. Anyway, I'll just run through these real quick. So let me actually get back to the top menu here, and I'll just play a couple of things here with the mic off. Okay, hopefully that was enough wanking for you there. The person who requested to hear those presets, but that is what they sound like. Anyway, okay. I think this would really be a good time to kind of just wrap it up here as far as like, bring this back up. Everything that's going on with the, Trident. This is just our first go at it, guys. So let's see, yeah, about an hour and 10 minutes now into this. This is just our first go at it. You know, there's going to be a lot of content that's going to be coming out from this channel very soon. Ooh, I can go over here. Where I will be talking about everything that, everything that we do, everything that the product can do. So if you thought this was just like kind of a one-stop shop as far as like, we won't be talking about anything else that it does and we'll just forget about it after it's out. That's not the case at all. This is a very important product for us. The Trident is a very, very important product because it is a big step in the right direction for us as a brand. And in fact, actually, I can take off my headphones now, thank God. Little bit of hearing damage in my left ear lately, so I've been really watching out for that a bit. So that's why I'm working with open backs now, just to kind of help with the volume levels. But nevertheless, the idea here, though, is that it is not a set it and forget it sort of idea. We are going to continue to develop for the product. It is going to be a part of your ecosystem one way or another. Now, as far as when it's coming, because I know a lot of people want to know when that's happening, we are going to announce it on Monday. So Monday, officially, we will announce the product. Not that you haven't known about it at this point. We talked about it at NAMM, and there were even a couple of little videos here and there out before it happened. But nevertheless, our official launch date is going to be this coming Monday, and it's going into production now. So I fully expect that we will see it here in the United States probably in, I want to say 60 days from now or so. We're putting all that together now. That's in addition to all the other things we have coming too, because we have the 65 overdrive, which I'm sure you guys have already seen. We have the loop, the hook, the drum and loop hook. I haven't even done any content for that yet. And there's even a couple of amps back there that I haven't done a preview for yet, but we have them coming. So there are so many things coming this year, everybody. It's going to be a heck of a year for NUX. It really is. And we're only halfway through the year at this point. So some pretty amazing stuff. Hey, let's take a look at some stuff. Mike Stockdale. What's up, dude? Okay, so for those of you who don't know Mike Stockdale, Mr. Stockdale is one of our sales reps out there in the East Coast. And he's a machine. This dude is a machine. And I invited everybody who's our sales reps to come and hang out with me today. So hopefully, Mike, you had a couple of laughs, and I'm sure I'll hear nothing but crap about it next week when we're all talking again. So have a great weekend, all right? Okay, I think now's a good time to probably go back through the list here and see what kind of questions we have. I see a lot of them here, so I'm going to go through now real quick. Okay, actually, no, they're not all there. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, I'll just go with the ones we've got here because there's plenty here to work with, okay? Okay, let's see, loud and clear. Pete D does things tastefully. Yes, of course he does. He's Pete. Like my V. I'm not sure what you mean. Maybe you're confusing my Explorer there for a V. I haven't had a V since I was about 18. Would you have a chance to show the looper and drums in the stream? Okay, well, there is a looper. There is not a drum machine here. So are you talking about the hook pedal? Because if you are, I promise we will do another video about that soon. I haven't actually set it up to do that yet. And actually, Chris, since he's on this live stream as well, we're going to be doing some very interesting things with the there it is. Okay, with the Pulse, which we're going to be talking about how to use the pedals in stereo to create a fly rig. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so let's see. I answered your question. Can we change the order of the pedal and the amps? Yes, we can. Let's see. Lone Star can act like a poor man's Dumble. Yeah, you could get a Dumble-ish sound out of it, sure. One thing that people have always told me about the Dumble, because one of my biggest videos on my channel was the one when I did about the Steel Singer. because that's a steel string singer. And I was using it in, well, to their mind, I was using it incorrectly, but because I was using it more as a gain than I was like a clean, like a boosty, glassy, tony thing. But you know what? I mean, it's what you use it for. It's the way you use it. I'm never going to tell a person how to use the pedal, because that's the whole idea, is that these are all instruments. All these things are instruments. The Trident, the Cerberus, the MG30, it's all instruments. And how you choose to use it is your business, you know? Give it a shot. Okay. All right, Tube Guy, 1975. Looks great. Would try this type of processor with both a guitar amp and an FR speaker. Well, I have some good news for you on that one, Tube Guy. You can use the Trident in both of those scenarios if you want to. You can use the Trident in what's called studio mode, studio output mode, which means it's going out to FR speakers. That's one way to use it. Or you can change it to amp. You can change it to combo or stack, front or rear. And what that'll do is that will turn off the impulse response and let the amp actually do all the driving in that regard. But those are two ways you can use it. So you actually get the best of both worlds. Okay. Here's another good question. Is it the same app with the MG30? It's very similar. It's not called QuickTone. It's just called the Trident Editor, but it is essentially the same app as far as the skin goes. Okay, here's another question. So can we run more than one modulation? Currently, right now, no. Will that be addressed somewhere down the road? It's possible, but it's anybody's guess at this point. I don't want to speak for the developers when it comes to those kind of things because it's not fair to them or to you. And, you know, people always say, well, it would just be easy to put stuff into the product. You know, you don't have to. Okay, so obviously those people are not developers and they don't know what goes into actually making these things work. And it is, back in my youth, in my arrogance as back in the 90s, I always used to say stuff like that about Steinberg back when I worked at Steinberg. Oh, they could just pop that stuff in. Why is it so hard? And yeah, you know, it's kind of like giving the developer kind of the middle finger. So I tend to not do that anymore and just say, look, let's just ask for it. Let's see what happens. But the thing is about NUX is we're always updating the products. We don't just put it out there and then forget about it later. We actually do update the product and we put new stuff in there. It's a lot of fun. Okay, let's see. Okay, this one's been a long one. Okay, from Chris. Vox with an RC boost sounds gorgeous, and when done and EQ'd right in the Amp Academy. By the way, in the RC boost, high slightly. Okay. Set Vox just before the edge of breakup. That's good advice. Okay. We'll do that. We'll do that. All right. Would love to see the first Vox AC30 Model 2. It has an EF86 pentode as the first stage. Very unique sounding. My favorite iteration for sure. You know, there was something about those original Vox AC30s. It's kind of like the original whammy pedal, right? There really is no substitute for the original whammy pedal. They can model it all they want, but even Digitech, back in the day when Digitech actually existed as a part of Harman, I would ask them all the time. I said, why don't you guys just reissue the whammy out with the original algorithm? It's because the chipset doesn't exist anymore and hasn't for years. So that's why they couldn't do it. And we do a pretty darn good job of modeling it here. And, you know, there are other ones that I've heard that are really good as well. They're not terrible at all. But still, you know, there's just sometimes you just want the real deal. And I think the same thing goes for the Vox because the ACs have gone through so many variations over the years. And I think the same thing could be said for, say, the Fenders. You know, the Fenders are really, I mean, I love Fender amps. Those are my jam. My first amp was a Fender Sidekick Reverb 25, and I still have it to this day. It's still here, and it still functions. It still works. And I know, you know, once you fall in love with the amps you love, it's hard to go back, isn't it? Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is a good point. So running the reverb into delay also collapses the reverb into mono. That's very true. Yes, very true indeed. Okay. When we were talking about okay. The rotary is in stereo. Yes, it is. More Floyd. Okay. So bullet for teeth. Okay, so this one's kind of a lengthy one. I'll go ahead and read this here. Reminds me of the Mustang floor. I wish Fender would have kept up with the Mustang and Fuse app. That's the thing. How long are they going to support the software on these things? Well, Bullets, that's a really good question. And I don't have a perfect answer for you on that one, I'm afraid. I will say, though, that I think this last Monday, I think we proved pretty well, and I think I can actually get rid of my axe here for the moment. Put it here on the stand. I have a stand just for the Steinberger. If I could just get it to stay. Stay. Okay. Okay, hopefully it'll stay. If not, if you hear a big thump, and you hear me start swearing, then okay, it fell. But, that's a really good question, Bullets. And look, there's not a perfect answer to that, I'm afraid. The reality is that when a product has reached its life cycle, which is typically somewhere between 3 to 5 years, at a certain point they will stop updating it. I have somebody asking a lot of questions about the Cerberus the other day. When are they going to update the Cerberus? And I hate to say it, but I think we're pretty much at the end of our road on that one. That product is literally over 5 years old now at this point. So it's really not probably going to happen because of the age of the product. However, I've been corrected before. I've been proven wrong a couple of times in the past. I mean, look what happened this week. We released our first update for the MG300 since 2021. And we, some people didn't like it very much. They were very unhappy that it was just a bass amp. But I was like, well, we're still developing for it. So, I mean, what's that tell you? We haven't forgotten about you. Now, is that going to be the final update or not? I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. But we will certainly keep you posted. But we do tend to keep our products current for a long time. So that's the thing. So what Fender does, I mean, they're a different company, so they've got different goals and all that. And if a product is not a hit right from the get-go, sometimes it's really hard to justify the constant expenditure of doing that. Like take for example, Digitech. And by the way, I'm not picking on Digitech, guys. I'm really not. I mean, if you've been on the Pedal Guy channel, you know that the videos that people watch on my channel are the trio videos. I still see them rank every day because I'm the only guy apparently who ever explained how that bloody thing worked. But it's not because I have anything against them at all. I love the history of Digitech, and I wish that when Harman had put them up for sale, they had called us, because I'm pretty sure we would have tried to buy the property if we were given a chance to. But nevertheless, that's the way it goes. Cort has them now, and Cort Guitars has them now, and we'll see what happens. But the point I was making is that they had some products that were really great. One was called the iStomp, which was cool because you were able to update it from your phone, and there were tons of pedals and all sorts of cool stuff you could do with it, and it was just so much fun to work with. And it was one of those first to market products that used iOS with your Stomp box, and I thought that was a really cool product. And I can tell you, it didn't sell that well, for a fact. Maybe in other places in the world it did, but not in the United States. It was kind of a swing and a miss. So unfortunately, it didn't work out. But hopefully, we'll see more than just one update. Okay. 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 I'm just going through the list of questions here, and comments and all that. Okay, here's a question from Chris. Okay, and when you recall a preset, do all the effects that you had on when you saved it come back on, or do they come back in the state you left it? No, they come back. Whatever you saved it as, that's how it will come back. That's how it is. So if you saved it with the modulation turned on, then it will, when you select it again, the modulation will be turned on again. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going through, guys. Okay. Keep the questions coming, guys. Keep the questions coming. Let's see. Okay. Here's a question. Do the toggle switches work on the amps in the software? No, the toggle switches that are on you mean the toggle switches on the Trident? No, those are specifically for the reverb and the the effects, because it's not just the reverb. It's the delay, the reverb, the modulation, the effects, and how the delay and the reverb are routed. That's all. That's what the switches do down there. The toggle switches. Can you move the mic on the Uber cab? You should be able to. I think I was having a little trouble getting it to go, but yes, should be able to do that. On the MZ30, you can move the mic in 3 positions. Yeah, the same thing. We do everything from center to center, middle, edge. Yeah, all that. So yep, nothing different there. Can you show what the 3 switches do in the modulation block? Can you show what the 3-way switches do in, say, the modulation block, or do to what on the on-screen editor? Okay, yeah, sure. Whoops. Let's go back to that one. Okay, let me zip down here real quick, and I'm going to make just a quick adjustment. Okay, so I'll go to the delay. So I want you to watch the delay, and you'll see me just dip down here because I got to get down on my down to the floor here. Okay, so if I go to the delay and I want to change it, like say to the BBD delay, there you go. Okay, another switch, another switch. Same thing goes for the reverb. So if I go and I select the reverb, spring reverb, plate reverb, digital reverb. If I want to change the order, there's that's parallel. That is the delay going into the reverb, and that's the reverb going into the delay. You can see you can see the signal path there, how it's changing. So yes, that's how that works. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's get over here. Okay. Now I'd love to go back to the chat screen. There we are. Okay. Nice rig for under $600. I agree. I agree. So there you go. Okay, so here's a question. Sorry if I missed the beginning. Is it possible to add a second delay in the channel? No, it is not possible to do that at this time. I don't know if that will be implemented or not, but that I'm sure that's something that's already been requested. I know I've put a bunch of requests in for features as well, so we're not going to just like put it out and forget about it. We will be updating it, absolutely. Okay, so the frame rate's looking good. Okay, yep. So Chris is just complimenting what we had to deal with the internet last week. We had three, not one, not two, but 3 dropouts while I was trying to do a live stream on the Trident a couple of weeks ago, and I just like lost it. I absolutely lost it at that point. When it was just strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, you're out, and I just decided, F it, I'm done. And I decided I got to figure out how to get high-speed internet on a hard line up here, because I was doing it through a power line before. And it worked out pretty darn well, actually, I must say. I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. It's very clear, very clean, and I even redecorated back here just to celebrate. So why not? And by the way, I can do all kinds of wanky stuff here, like I can change it to green if the remote's working. Is it not working? Oh, it's not working. I have something blocking the remote, but I can actually change the colors back here, and we can have a little fun if we want to. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going because we're getting on to an hour and a half here. Let's see. Okay, Steve just said purchased the Queen of Tone pedal. Sounds great. I completely agree. I love that pedal. I have so much fun with it. It's a great sounding pedal. It really is. It's a lot of fun. I'm not that big of a fan of the Ace of Tone. I like the Queen of Tone better because the Queen of Tone has the Horseman, and it has the Horseman and the Morning Star. I find that to be a more powerful combination for myself personally. It doesn't mean that the Ace of Tone won't work for you, but my personal taste is I happen to like the Queen better than the Ace. Okay, the Steel Singer can totally be used as a drive. Yep, and I've definitely shown that one. Enough times. Okay. Thanks for the demo. I have the MG30. I'm going to get this one as well. Good. Awesome. I hope you enjoy it. I know that I have been, I've been drooling over it since I saw it. And I'll tell you a fun-filled fact. I saw this back when I was interviewing for this position. And I was interviewing for this position back in March of 2022. So it was pretty cool to see that, see us working that far out on the product. So I saw a mock-up of it. I don't know if it actually worked or not, but one of our guys had it with him, and he was in isolation because everybody was still isolating in China back then, and he was traveling, and so he had to isolate. And so in his hotel room, he was playing around with the new Trident, and I was like, oh, I so want that. And it was so cool when I finally got to play with that sucker. All right. Okay. Let's see. All right, Kevin asks, can an external expression pedal be used to control the whammy and wah? Yes. It can control either or. You can't control both, but yes, you can control it. You can configure it with the Trident itself. It's actually, that's where you configure it, not the editor, but you can do it from there. And I've also put in a bunch of requests for other updates for that particular feature as well. So yes, you can, absolutely. Kevin says, greetings from Mexico. Greetings from the US. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it, I truly do. Okay. You actually did what I was suggesting with the RC boost, high boost, low cut, mid gain, volume push. Sounded like you ended up with a great, sounded great. You ended up with by instinct. Well, that's how it works. When you build presets all the time, you just kind of know where the bare bone basics are and where to start and where to squeeze out every little tone. And it also, of course, it all comes from your hands. And it also, I know there's been some videos lately where people have been talking about people, one being Glenn over there at Spectre Sounds. I love watching his channel. By the way, what's your favorite YouTube channel besides us? Let me know. Use the comment section, let me know. Glenn's one of my favorite guys to watch. Met him a couple times. He's a nice guy. Kind of quiet, believe it or not. He does kind of keep to himself a little bit. But the thing is, he did this whole series of videos about the BS behind tone wood and pickups and all that. And I'd say, for the style of music that he does, yeah, he's probably right about that, because you crunch the crap out of the sound. Sure, it doesn't matter if you're playing a kazoo through a humbucker or through a single coil or through a lipstick pickup. When you get right down to it, the speaker, the amp and the speaker and the microphone are really what's going to determine the tone more than anything. But as you guys know, I don't play that style of music, so I have a difference of opinion in that matter. And I tend to believe that because it's actually going to come a lot more from here more than anywhere. Take Jeff Beck, for example, right? You can get the same exact rig that Jeff Beck has. I'm sorry, rest in peace, Jeff. But had. And you know what? You're never going to get that tone, because there was one and only Jeff Beck. It's the same thing goes for Van Halen. The same thing goes for, I don't know, you name your guy, Steve Howe or Alex Lifeson or whatever. I know, I'm naming all the prog rock guys. I had lunch once with Nuno Betancourt a few years ago, back in my GC days. And he was telling me about the time that he picked up the Frankenstrat. He was with Eddie, and he picked up the Frankenstrat, and he said, I picked it up and I expected to sound like Eddie, but I still sound like me. And I was like, yes, that's exactly right. You are only going to sound like you, because your pickup is only one part of it. It's all coming from here. So it comes from here with the tremolo, with the vibrato, the attack of the pick, all those things. The style of how you play is really going to determine your tone a lot more than anything else does. Especially if we're not talking about reefing everything up to 10, right? And going for it like a heavy metal production would be for say what Glenn does. So in that regard, yes, I agree that tone wood, to a certain degree, depending on the style of music, can be kind of a load of you know what. But in addition to that, you can, just try, different style of music, and you'll hear a difference, I promise. Okay, I am just going way off the reservation, I know, but it is the show. This is what we do here. Let's see. Helix is still doing updates 8 years later on the Helix. Yep, Andrew, you're very right. And you know why they're doing it? Because Line 6 is all about the features. They're all about the features. I'm not going to say anything bad about Line 6. I mean, certainly enough people have taken enough pot shots at them over the years. I still have my Kidney Bean Pod 2.0. I have 2 Variaxes here. I used to have a whole bunch of their pedals back in the day. And, I did a lot of videos on, well, not a lot, but I did a few videos on the HX Stomp. I did a couple videos on the Pod Go. And I've got nothing against them, really. I don't. The only thing I have against them, if there's anything I would gripe about when it comes to their product line, it would be, first thing, how about making the looper independent of the signal chain, guys? So, that's something that we do with our $150 products. So I can loop, I can get out of the loop, and then I can change it into the preset. I can record in a loop over that. You can't do that with the HX Stomp. You can't do that with the Pod Go, or at least you couldn't back when I was using it. Maybe they've updated it. I don't know. But that was one thing. The other thing is, when you want to edit it, you're going to get in the weeds so far into the weeds, you're going to have a hard time keeping up with how to just get a sound. Did you notice how fast I just cooked up a sound here? Now that's because I've been using this kind of architecture for a while now, but at the same time, I know what I like when I'm building a sound. I don't want to get too wanky with it. So just a little philosophy there. But it's still great to see that Line 6 is doing updates for the Helix, because the Helix is a really cool product. I'm not going to say it's a bad product. It's really cool, man. Okay. Chris says, I have one of the Digitech X series. Ooh, there's old school. More than 20 years old. Getting in and out tap tempo sucks, though. Ah, boy. That's funny. Let's see. Thanks for the toggle switch demonstration. Yep, you're very welcome. Let's see. Okay, here's something from Bullets for Teeth. Maybe NUX and others will stabilize apps and stuff in the future and make them more future-proof and easier to update. The future looks bright. Well, I think we do a pretty good job in that regard, frankly. There are some weirdness, there is some quirkiness from time to time, but for the most part, I think we do a pretty decent job there. But, point taken. No problem. How are we looking there on the microphone? Yeah, we're doing pretty good there, actually. Okay. Let's see. Andrew, okay. Andrew wrote, Andrew, you asked the loaded question. How would you compare this to the Pod Go? It's not the same thing. Not the same thing at all, Andrew. I wouldn't even compare them. I would never compare them together. That's not the same thing at all. The Pod Go is an all-in-one. It has the expression pedal built into the chassis, all that stuff. I think the Trident really serves a different purpose. I like to think of it as kind of the central nervous system. It's the circulatory system of the entire, not the central, the circulatory system of the entire rig that you put together on your pedal board. That's how I tend to think of the Trident and how it should be used. And I just look forward to really using this new setup down here to try to come up with some really ambient ideas to kind of show you what you can do with pedals integrated in with the 4-cable method. Okay, by far my favorite channel is John Cordy's in terms of guitar and modulators and gear. That's all good. Okay, Bullets for Teeth. He likes watching Phil McKnight. I do too. He's a really nice guy. Matthew Finch. Haven't seen that channel, but I'll have to check him out. Tone Kig, of course. 60 cycle hum. That 60 cycle's great. Really good stuff there. Andrew, no two players sound the same. Couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree more with you, buddy. Tone wood on electric guitars. Yeah, I agree. Not much. Yeah, absolutely. The tone wood is it when it comes to acoustic guitars. That's obvious. It's going to obviously sound different. When it comes to electrics, can you make a Les Paul sound like a Strat and vice versa? No, not really. I mean, I have a split coil on the Jamstick over there that I could go between humbucker and single coil, and that version of a single coil doesn't sound anything like a single coil on a Strat. So yeah, it certainly can help. Speaker swap, okay, can work motors on the amp. Yep, couldn't agree more with you on that one. You can always go in there and change the speakers out to greenback, or you could always go for the other ones that are out there as well. There's so many different companies that make speakers for your cabinets. All right, Sassy stuck it out until 1 a.m. here in Norway. Sassy, thank you for sticking around. I appreciate it, truly. Let's see. Okay, they might come out with the new hardware, but you don't go wrong with the first one. Okay, well, that seems like that's a conversation I don't need to be in the middle of there. Okay, how many amp models are available? What was that number again? Oh, yeah, here it is. 27 amps. 27 amps and impulse responses. So that's just our starting point. Who knows? We might be putting more stuff in before too long. I know everybody's been asking for orange. I know, guys. I know. We've been asking for orange for a while, and we'll see what happens. Personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I'd sure love to see a Rockman. I'd love to see a Rockman because it just kills me that the only way I could get the Rockman sound is by getting Amplitube, and I just don't want to get that thing. The Rockman is such an awesome one, actually. I've been having a love affair with Boston lately and just been listening to a lot of that on vinyl. Although I'm finding, here's the really weird thing, because I've been listening to a lot of vinyl lately. I got my turntable repaired by a really great guy here in the South Bay, and it just sounds gorgeous now. And I love listening to it. But you know, the one thing I was very surprised with is I didn't like the way Third Stage sounded on vinyl. I actually prefer the digital format more than the vinyl format on the way it sounds. I think there's some really nasty crunching going on there. So that's kind of weird there. Okay. Anyway, okay, when will this be available? I'd say within 60 days. We're going to announce it officially on Monday, and it's going into mass production now. So I would say within 60 days we should have it. All right. You could buy a used one for 800. A used one what? I think you guys must still be talking about Helix or something like that. Okay, more bass amps. Fred, to my knowledge right now, we're not planning on putting bass amps in here yet. Now, it could change, obviously, as time goes on. Initially, though, we're calling this a guitar processor. So we may or may not be putting bass amps in there. I'd like to see it, of course, because I'd like to include everybody. But I think that this would not be a product specifically for, let's say, acoustic guitar players. Although, you know, you could see it with like Optima Air type of ideas. That might be interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see. The guys are always coming up with new stuff, and certainly in the U.S. we have an influence here, and I discuss it with them a lot, along with all of the other products we do. Which you think you know the brand, and then you get in here, guys. You get in the mud, and wow, our assortment is far and wide. But this is just our starting position, so maybe you will see bass amps before too long, but I don't know yet. I had a Rockman when I was first. Yep, yeah. It's just, everybody remembers their Rockman. I had a Rockman too. I had the Rockman I had the rack-mounted stuff too. And one night, like a dummy, I left it in my car, and then I heard two guys breaking into my car in the middle of the night outside my window. And yeah, they made off with the Rockman rack gear, but was kind of a shame. But well, it happens. What are you gonna do, right? Yeah, staying here late at the office for your whole stream. Wow, watch out, dude! Don't become part of the cleaning crew. You work hard enough, Chris. You work hard enough. Okay. let's see. If you make changes to each of the 3 switch positions and save the preset, does it save the settings for all of them in the preset? It should. It should. I haven't tried anything like that yet, but it should remember that and try it. We have parameter follow built into the Trident as well, so that should assist in what you're trying to do there. By the way, what's everybody got planned for the weekend? Hopefully some good stuff, I hope. I've got some awesome stuff. I'm going cycling up north. I mean, we're getting electric bikes and we're going out there in wine country and going to have some fun up there. Recent 400 MG400 owner, love it. New NUX fanboy. That's great. Thank you so much. I really do like the 400. I need to do more content on the 400. You know, one thing a lot of people ask for, they asked at NAMM last month, everybody was asking for vocal processors. And I said, you know, you can actually use the MG300 and the 400 as a vocal processor, right? And it was just like, they didn't get it. And I was like, yeah, you can. It works quite well. You just have to use an impedance converter, and you can turn off the amp and the cab sim, and yeah, you've got a vocal processor. And it sounds pretty good. You work with the compression, with some EQs, some effects. Yeah, you can actually get a really good sound out of it. So it is a lot of fun. Okay, well, new pedals such as the Electro Harmonics Dildo. Oh gosh, did I say that? Mesa, is that actually what it's called? I couldn't tell you if that's going to be available or not, but I gotta, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't. Or weren't they also the guys that came out with the Cockfight as one of their pedals? I mean, not what Glenn came up with Spectre Sounds. That's a noise gate, and it's, yeah, you don't want to say that on this channel. Any MG30 updates coming? I believe there is an MG30 update coming. Yes, I do believe there's one coming soon. I saw something on the schedule, so yes, I believe there is one coming soon. All right. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, Chris. All right. Okay, so bullets for teeth, he's got to fix his car, put a new PVC valve in it, and then I'm going to barbecue and drink beer. Well done, sir. Well done. Enjoy healthy and safely, and enjoy that beer. I haven't been drinking beer lately. I kind of miss it. I've been switching my wheat for wine, wheat for grape. So I've been actually staying away from alcohol a bit lately, just to give myself a little bit of a break. But tomorrow is going to be all about the vino in up north, which will be fun. Okay, I'm going to take a few more questions, and then we're going to call it a day, everybody. Let's see. I got an MG30 recently, and I have to use a noise gate on most of the presets to cut the noise. Why is it so noisy, though? Well, you know, that's kind of a long answer, but let me see if I can give you the short, as Mel Brooks would call it, the short version. A couple things that can go that can go with it. What kind of amp are you using? What kind of guitar are you using? Are you using a single coil and then trying to go through high gain amps? Because if that's where you're going, that's going to be noise city no matter what you do. Humbuckers typically work better with high gain amps. Not all the time, but mostly. That's one thing that can cause the noise. The other thing can be electricity. If you have a noisy electricity, and it does happen, that can also cause noise. But those are a couple things I can think of right at the top of my head. But it's not an uncommon problem. I used to hear it with head rush and with pods and all that stuff too. So you have to be the signal. Go through it step by step, piece by piece, and just figure it out. Maybe it's a bad cable. Maybe it's a tone pot that went bad. You know, there could be a lot of different things. Or maybe there's a bad power supply. All those things can happen. Oh, and also keep your phone away from it, because that can also create a lot of noise. So it's the same thing as the MG30. It doesn't have, no. It's not the same thing as the MG30 at all. No, the MG30 has a totally different audio engine or version of TSAC that you find with the Trident. The Trident has the brand new 4K algorithm, which is different from what you got with the MG30. So yes, now if you put them side by side and made roughly the same connections, it would absolutely sound different. And maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do a video that shows that off a little bit. Let's see. Shade Hope is playing in front of 500 or more people Saturday night. Right on, dude. I'm lugging around a lot of equipment right now. Well, maybe, Shade, maybe you should try out the Trident, because seriously, man, you could set that up and just plunk it down and go. Right to front of house and FR speakers, and that's basically all she wrote, man. You won't need to do anything else. The other thing we're also playing with is, video explaining how to do a fly rig, a mini fly rig with these mini core pedals, because you can actually create an amazingly large sound with them. That we'll have to check that out. Okay, a couple more questions. We go. Have to go. Finally catch you on live stream. Yeah, great, cool. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it, Bullets. Boom, boom, boom. Can the Trident output dry direct input and wet simultaneously? Through USB, I believe you can. Yes, with the USB out, not with the hardware outs though. No, not that I'm aware of yet. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. I'm sure. Okay, Herbert, how about for the Cerberus? Any updates? And by the way, I have a Cerberus and an MG30. Great, cool. I'm glad. Just to be honest with you, probably not. I doubt we have any more updates planned for the Cerberus at this point. It's a 5-year-old product, and it's kind of set where it is, because we haven't had an update on it since I think 2019. I think was the last time we had an update. I could be wrong about that at this point. But yeah, we don't have any plans that I'm aware of for an update for the Cerberus. But if anything is going to happen, we will certainly, let you know. We'll certainly post on social media. So do stay tuned to our social media, okay? All right. Oh yeah, I haven't heard this one in a while. The MG40. There is no MG40. Let me explain it to you. Let me get really close to the camera. Can you see me? Can you? All right, here we are. Hi, how are you doing? There is no MG40. I don't know what you're talking about. There is no MG40. I have no idea if there ever will be an MG40, but I promise you, if we ever do an MG40, I will let you know. But there is no MG40. Okay. Haha. Hey, now you're getting me 2 hours in, so now you're gonna get the real. Now you're gonna get the real eclectic pedal guide. All right. Couldn't resist. Okay, I won't blame you on that one, Fred. Anyway, guys, okay, it's getting on to be almost 2 hours since we started this live stream. I would very much like to thank each and every one of you for attending today. This was an absolute treat. I am so happy the way everything looked on the stream today. I'm looking at it over here. I can't stop looking because it's so clean and so clear. I'm like all jazzed up about it. And well, this will not be our last live stream, not by a long shot. We have plenty more planned for the near future, and we will have some fun down the road. But for right now, thank you so very much for attending. If you have any further questions, just use those comment sections, the comment section, and I will try to answer your questions when I have time. Okay, but for the time being, have a great weekend. Take good care of yourself. Stay safe. Stay happy, stay mindful, enjoy life as it is, because this is your one life, this is your one go around the earth. Enjoy it. All right? So we'll see you later. Thanks so much and take care.